Right, if you could just start off with your name and where you were born.
My name is Andrea Viazzani. I was born in Caccroli, well they say Bard, but I was born in Caccroli on the 23rd of November 1921.
And you speak English very well.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to speak English?
Oh, when I went to England. I went to England in 1938, before the war. And in those days you couldn't stay in England more than a certain time. They only gave me a week. After a week, my father made an application to the Home Office for a bit longer stay. And they gave me another few weeks, and so on. Kept on writing to the Home Office, and then in the end they gave me a month. And then the war broke out, 1939, and I was interned with my father to the Isle of Man.
Can you recount the night that you were arrested?
The night that we were arrested, or so-called, the police from Interned and Languish. They came to our house and they said to my father, my brother was present because he was born here, was born in England with his wife, and they said to us, don't worry about anything, just go on with your work, whatever you're doing, everything will be okay. So we went to bed. About 1 o'clock in the morning, someone came into my room with a torch, and he said to me, you must come with me. I got dressed and I went downstairs. My father was also there, and they took us to the police station in Interned and Languish. That night we stayed there in the police station. They took off all our clothes. They didn't leave us with nothing, just our pants, no pajama, nothing. The following morning, a car came from Brecon and took my father and me to Brecon. And I wasn't very used to going in a car, and I was very bad. I was very bad from Interned and Languish all the way to Brecon. It was very bad. My father asked his policemen if they could slow down. He said, my son is very bad. Could you stop or do something? They wouldn't stop. We went to Brecon. Brecon, they put us into a barrack. Very old barrack, my father and me. And they gave us something to eat. And then the sergeant came and said, if you want to go to the bathroom or something like that, you just knock on the door and someone will come and take you to the bathroom. We were there that night. Then the next day, some more Italians arrived, the Tianitanzi Andrea, the father and the 3 sons, they came. And then other Italians came, but I didn't know their names. They came there, the same barracks we were there. We stayed there a few days, and then from there we went on to Cardiff. Took us to Cardiff. When we got to Cardiff, they gave us 1 blanket, that's all. And then that evening, some more Italians came. They came in hundreds of them, hundreds. And we stayed there for about 2 or 3 days in Cardiff. I remember the sergeant in Cardiff, he said, they gave us something to eat, stew actually it was, no forks, no knives, no spoons, nothing. Just how to eat with what you had, or make something out of a piece of a stick. And the sergeant said, if one of you drop something on the floor, dirty the floor, I'll make you scrap it from top to bottom. He was a nasty man. Stayed there quite a few days. And then we moved up to, from there we went to Bury. Yes, they took us to Bury. And they put us into an old factory cotton factory it was, but it wasn't very clean. It was just like an internment camp. It was a factory, but all barbed wire. It was like a camp, you know. We went inside there, and you can imagine the floor was covered in grease. And with a few days, with wheelbarrows and one thing or the other, we cleaned up the place and everything. We stayed there for about a couple of weeks, I think, we were there. And then one night, there was a big roll call. And they were calling all these names out. So we went to this room where there was a man on the table who was calling out names. And then he said, all those who are being called to go to a certain room and wait there. And the others that are not being called to go to keep where you are. But tomorrow morning, get ready, about 1 o'clock in the morning, you'll be leaving this factory. About 1 o'clock in the morning we left that factory. But they took us out the road. It was raining, pouring. Coming down in buckets. One of these Tianitansi, the old man, he said to me, I got an extra overcoat, he said, if you want it. And I remember in the pocket of this overcoat there was a loaf of bread. And it rained so much, we stood outside the station for about an hour, waiting for the train to come into the station. By the time we got to the station, this bread had gone in water. We got to the station, and we got on the train, but the train wasn't moving. And the guard came around, he was calling someone. This someone was a young man that they called their father, but they have not called him. Being that he was with us in this factory, he stayed with us all the time, he said, I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to answer or not, don't say anything. I remember saying to him, look, don't say anything, he doesn't know who you are. Don't, just sit still. And I remember this guy saying, if that man that we're calling doesn't come out, doesn't show himself, the train will move. Stay here. All right, stay here. Let's go. We're not going to stop here all day, surely. But eventually the train went. So I think that this young man he's safe somewhere, I don't know where. Probably he's dead as well, but I don't know. But anyway, we went. From there we went to Manchester. Manchester we got on a bus. They put us on buses, double-decker buses. And from there they took us to Fleetwood. When we got to Fleetwood, this boat, not Liverpool, but Fleetwood, this Arandora Star was docked in Fleetwood. When we saw this boat, Arandora Star, black, barbed wires everywhere. We could see the soldiers walking up and down like that. And my father, I said, I wonder where this boat is going, huh? God knows. We don't even know ourselves where we're going. So we asked, where are we going? It's none of your business. When we were in Cardiff on the train, then after from the train they transferred us to buses, there was a man from Grezzo, near here, village, his name was Obertelli. His son was outside the train guarding his father with a bayonet, with a gun. And he said to the sergeant, can I go and speak to my son? He said, no, you can't speak to your son. Your son is your enemy. He said, what? My enemy? My son? Yes, your son is your enemy. Because he was born in England, and you're an Italian. What a stupid thing to say to an old man. Your son is your enemy. Anyway, we went from there. As I said, we went to Fleetwood. We asked people, where are we going? Can you tell us where we're going? Nobody knew anything. The only thing I remember is that when we got on the boat, not only the Italians were on that boat, but there was also the people from the Isle of Man. Now, there must have been, I say they're from the Isle of Man because now I know these things. But I said to my father, there's other people on this boat, not only us, not only Italians, there's normal people, said. They're not Italians and like that, so that something is not right. Anyway, by the time we got on this little boat, the boat was full up, and it started to move, and it was getting dark, very dark. We didn't know exactly where we were going. It started to move. You can see the weight, that boat was so small that you could touch the water with your hands like that. And it started to move away. And then eventually, as we got on, young chap next to me said, "Look," he said, "what's that?" He said, "over there. Can you see something in the middle of the water? Can you see something?" I said, "No, I can't see anything." "Yes, there's something over there on the water." So as the boat got nearer and nearer to this, was sand. It was a pile of sand. We knew then that we were near somewhere. And then it's gone a bit more, but far away, we could see some lights. Very dim, very little lights far away. And we said, "Look, we are near somewhere, because over there we can see some lights." And eventually we got to the Isle of Man. We were glad to see land, because, you know, we were really afraid that it was our doom day. We got to the Isle of Man, and when we got to the Isle of Man, the people in the streets, they were all waiting for us. But probably they knew that we were arriving. And they were spitting on us, throwing things at us, everything they could find. And they kept saying, "Mussolini, Mussolini." Yeah, what could you do? Some of them said, "It's not our fault if Mussolini declared war against your country. It's just one of them things." We went on and on until we came to our camp, palace camp, which was a cage. They opened all these big gates, and we just walked in. And everyone had to find your own place, your own room, and everything. As I went in the camp in the Isle of Man, there was this Lieutenant Lipton. He was called a meeting. So I went to this meeting. I said, "What's it all about?" He said, "We're looking for people to go to work on land, doing something, you know." I said, "That's all right." So we had this meeting, and they said, "Tomorrow," so they come here, said, "Tomorrow morning there will be a man here that he was select some of you to go and work on the land." So I said, "All right." So the following morning we all went with it. There was about 20 or 30 of us, all young boys. And he looked around.
Before that, you went to work in the kitchen?
Oh, before that, when I worked in the kitchen in a palace camp. You see, when we went to this palace camp, my father said to me, "When we go to this camp, there was meat downstairs on the passage. There was meat piled up, you know, ready for us to eat." My father said to me, "Go downstairs and now look if you can find something to eat," because it was days we were traveling and we had nothing to eat. I went downstairs, and that meat has just disappeared. Where it's gone, nobody knew. It just disappeared. So, in the house where I lived, number 11, Palace Camp it's called, there was 228 men living in that hotel. Every day, the food wasn't enough. So the house leader, which his name was Campolini, went to the authority and asked them to give us more food, because the ration, those days was ration, it was like now, it was ration. The ration they were giving us wasn't enough. So the camp commandant, Mr. Brewer, he said, "I don't understand." He said, "Although your house is bigger, but your rations are also bigger than all the other houses. I don't understand why you haven't got enough food." We went on that for a while, and then one day they decided to have a showdown. Why don't we have enough food to eat? So he said the only thing we can do is to change the kitchen. In the kitchen there were 18 men. 18 men working in the kitchen. So the house leader said, who would like to go in the kitchen and to work? So I put my hand up, so I'll go. And this young boy, Toscano, Giuseppe his name was, he said, I'll go with him. So we went in the kitchen, and then he said, we need a chef. So this man from London, he was a real chef. He said, I'll go with them. From 18 men, we worked up to 3 men. The first day that we went, makes me cry when I think of that thing. First day that we went in the kitchen, he prepared hors d'oeuvre. You know hors d'oeuvre, don't you?
Torpedo.
Antipasto. And then he had soup, minestrina, cotoletta, con patatine, piselli. At the table,
And the sweet.
And the sweet. At the table where the house leader was sitting, there was 19 Padre di Verona, missionaries. At the end of the meal, this house, Mr. Campolini, he got up. He said, "I must say something. I don't understand," he said. And he got up, well-dressed person. He said, "You boys, come here." So we went over to the table where the priest was and said, "Where did you get this food from? All the time we've been here, we never had a meal like this." "Oh," he said, "from the kitchen, from the stuff, from the rations that they've given us." So these 18 men sitting next door to him at the table, long table, he said to them, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself? 18 of you in the kitchen never prepared a meal like this." And those two boys and the man, he said, look, how come you could never done it? 18 of you in the kitchen. No, you know why? They looked all well, you see. They were eating well. Pasta, they used to make themselves pasta asciutta and everything else. And we used to pull the belt. They were eating all right, but nobody else. Anyway, went on that for a while. That evening, the chef, after lunch, he said, "No," he said, "I'm going." He said, "I'll leave you to do the rest." So we had 2 big pans, pots, aluminum, that high. We had an old stove working with the what you call coal. It was working with coal. On this big pan, like a boiler, we kept throwing all the bones and everything we had. We throw them all in there, and it kept boiling all the time. From there, we took that broth, the bones we were making. We filled up these 2 big things with minestrone, potatoes, beans, everything, carrots, everything we could find, and pasta. Come at night time, there used to be a glass door. It was a long room. There was about 15 or 16 tables, long tables, and there used to be a long glass door, and all these internees used to wait outside the store. We had to prepare all the room first with all the plates and all the food, because they were so hungry that when you open the door you had to run away, because otherwise there's a stampede over you. Well, you're laughing, but there's nothing to laugh at. Anyway, Yeah, the stampede over you. Even the priest used to do that. And fill all the plates with this minestrone, you know. And three nice thick slices of bread like that. And again, in the evening, this household, he said to me, I don't understand. He said, well, where'd you get all this stuff from? I said, look, Signor Campolini, I said, the minestra, we made it ourselves. Me and this boy, we made it. What? You made it? I said, yes, we made it. Him and me. How? I said, do you ever know when the Italian ladies, old ladies, used to make pasta con la cannella? E la sfoglia, facevano la sfoglia, dopo la mettevano a asciugare, poi con il coltello del tagliare facevano le tagliatelle. Sì? Ecco, io e lui abbiamo fatto questo. Vergogna! Voi in 18, questi due ragazzi qua, facevano la minestra col coltello e voi, e la pasta la mangiavate voi. Sì, la pasta la mangiavano loro. La farina, loro la farina invece di fare la pasta la buttavano giù per il sink. Poi ci lasciavano andare l'acqua che andava via. Poi in ultimo, quando non poteva più andare avanti, saturato su tutto, non dava più niente. Quando sono venuti quelli del consul a aprire i gutters, hanno trovato che erano tutti bloccati con la farina. Avete fatto la minestra voi? Così l'avete tagliato così, col coltello. Avete fatto le tagliatelle? Sì, poi le abbiamo lasciate asciugare e poi abbiamo fatto la minestra.
So, quella gente lì che era in cucina si
mangiavano loro mangiavano, loro trincavano bene, e noi no. La pasta, la farina, invece di farla come facciamo noi, loro la buttavano via. Dopo sono andato, dopo un po' mi sono stufato di stare in cucina, sono andato a lavorare, come dire, questo signore, questo tenente Lipton si chiamava.
You went to work in a pub?
Avanti alla mattina siamo andati lassù, c'era questo vecchietto lì, si chiamava Williams, e guardate in giro, tutti eravamo 15 o 16 ragazzi, vabbè. He said, I take this bloke, him. So I went, come here, someone over to him, he said, what's your name? He said, my name is Andrea. No, he said, I don't like, he said, I don't like that name. I said, I call you Badoglio. You know Badoglio, don't you? You don't mind if I call you Badoglio? I said, no. As long as you don't call me anything else, you can call me what you like. But Badoglio will be okay. Even today, when I go play bocce, he says, this Badoglio. Badoglio's name is still on. Badoglio is here. And I went to work for the agriculture board of the Isle of Man.
which involved
ploughing, digging potatoes, sprouts, cabbages, leeks. This was the agriculture board. Before that, I went to work for the agriculture tomato plantation in the Isle of Man. From there, I went to work for the agriculture board.
Was it paid work?
Pardon?
Was it paid to work?
Paid 1 shilling a day. From there, I went there to work for this man. And then he said to me, "Can you drive?" I said, "No, I can't drive." I said, "I haven't driven anything." So he said to me, this lieutenant, he said, "Look," he said to you, "Badoglio," he said, we're sending you this man to work on the land," he said. "By right," he said, "I would send a guard with you to guard you." But I said, "I think that I can trust you. You have the face that I can trust you." I said, "What do you mean, trust? If you think that I'm going to run away," I said, "No, I'm not going to run anywhere, because this highland is 35 miles long and 16 miles wide," I said. "Wherever you go, there's water. Right around it, there's water." I said, "You can't go anywhere." He said, "I'm going to send you to work with him without a guard, providing that you don't talk to anyone, don't phone to anyone, don't speak to anyone. I said, okay. I went to work for this young man. And he come in the morning in the camp, come up to the house where I lived in number 33, and he calls this. Then we have changed camp. Then we went to Auckland camp. From Palace camp, went to Auckland camp, which was a small village all closed up. And he said to me, we went with him to work, and we used to go around the farms, used to thresh weeds, everything, just myself and him. And one day, another chap came from the camp, and he said to me, I'm going to work with him, now you stay here. And he said, no, he said, I'm the boss. He said, this man, I choose him, he works with me, not you. I don't know who you are. I said, you work with the other gang here. He said, here. He works with me all the time. I went with him. He introduced me to his family, which is not, he was supposed to do. I met his wife, I met his sons and daughters, and as soon as I got into the house, he said to me, we don't want you to think that you're an internee, he said, that you're an enemy of us. I don't want you to think that, he said. You're welcome into our house like one of us. I said, thank you very much. They gave me food, they really welcomed me like if I wasn't, to them I wasn't an enemy, I was just an ordinary person like they were. And I worked for the agriculture board. We went away every morning with this man. We went to Ramsey, where all the Italian internees used to be. Went to dig potatoes, and all the Italians prisoners in the morning, they came with their guards to pick up potatoes. One morning I was in this camp, in this field, and I see all these Italian captains and all dressed up with their uniforms. And I said to them, aren't you ashamed of yourself? Big man like you got yourself caught with these lot here, said that they can't even use a gun. I said, how come? Hey, it's la guerra. La guerra. Or se uccidere or surrender. I was working in this field with this man. As I said before, I wasn't supposed to speak to anyone. And there was a lady, there was a row of houses like that, around this field. And there was a lady up there, and she was going like that to me. And I said to this man, Willie, I said, go and see what that lady wants. No, I said, you go. I said, no, I mustn't go. I said, you know I mustn't go. You go. No, I said, you go. I'll be responsible for you. So I said, okay, I'll go. So I went up to the fence and asked, what do you want, lady? You want something? Was something wrong? No, she gave me a nice basket, pot of tea, 2 cups, cakes, biscuits. I said, what's this for? For you and that little man over there. I said, oh, it's all right, thank you very much. So I went over there, we had this tea and biscuits and one and the other. And this man, he said to me then, William, he said, you have to give her something. You can't accept, you must give her something. I said, okay, what will I give her? Give her whatever you like. So, as those days, people were rations, you see. I cut up a few cabbages, sprouts, cauliflowers, leeks and all that. Big bundle. I went up to the ad, I just threw them over the ad. I said, this for you. Oh, she said, oh, you lovely boys. I go to the camp in the evening to go back to camp. The guard at the gate, first of all, she won't let me in. I showed him my pass. He said, no. He said to me, you're not an internee. You're just a man running away from somewhere. You want to go inside there to be safe, that you won't be found by the police. I said, look, I'm an internee. I said, I go. No, I said, you're not. I said, go and call the major. No, I said, I won't call the major. I said, you go on. I said, go. I said, no, I can't go. I said, I live there. Anyway, I had to go to the office of the major. I had to knock on his door. I went in. He said, "Who are you?" I said, "My name is so-and-so, my number is on there." I said, "I went to the gate." I said, "I got my pass in my hand." The guy won't let me go in. He thinks that I'm just an ordinary person, that I want to run away from the police. I want to go inside there so I'll be safe. So the major come with me. But before that, before I come with you, he said, I want to show you something. So I said, "What? What's wrong? Have I done something wrong?" He said, "No." I said, "Come here with me," he said. And there was a big window. And he took me to the window. He said to me, "Look up there." And I said, pretend that I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, "I know what he's talking about." He said, "Look up there." I said, "Yeah." "What's up there? What can you see up there?" I said, "There are row of houses." I said, and that lady that she was calling you this morning, this afternoon, this morning she was calling you, a lady, she was calling you from the stair. What did she give you? She gave me a basket, the pot of tea and some biscuits and cakes, which we had. I asked Mr. Williams to go up there, but he said to me that he'd be responsible for me, so I went. And what did you give the lady? Well, I said I gave her some cabbages, some cauliflowers, and sprouts and leeks and things like that. I said, Mr. Williams told me to give it to her because she gave us tea. He said, "Look, I could see you from here." I said, "You see these binoculars?" He said, "I was seeing you like if I was talking to you now," he said. I said, "I'm sorry if I offended you." I said, "In any way?" I said, "No, you haven't offended me, like." "No, I realized that you're a young boy," he said, that you're a young fella, he said. "I know being closed up in that camp there, what must be like for you, young boys like that, like you, to be like that." I said, "Well, it's just one of them things. You can go to the lady if she calls you again, but don't go over the fence. You understand?" he said to me. "Don't go over the fence." I said, "No, I won't go over the fence." And after a couple of months after that, this Lipton called me as I was coming to the gates. He said, "I want to come into my office." And he said to me, "Would you like to go to work out on the land outside the camp? In the United Kingdom," he said, in London or somewhere like that." I said, "Look, if you want to send me with the land army," I said, "I won't go." I said, "I prefer to stay here, work the land here with this man." I said, "But I won't work the land army." I said, "I don't know anything about them. Otherwise," I said, "if you want to send me home, then when I get home, I'll report to the labor exchange, and whatever they give me, I'll take, but I would like to go home." It went on like for a few weeks. Then we had a tribunal. They had a tribunal in the Isle of Man, asking you, every day there was about 10 or 20 of us going to tribunal, asking you, if you were released from the camp, would you be willing to work to help the British win in the war? Not making guns or anything like that, but help in different ways to help the British to win the war. Yeah, not making guns, mind. Anything else, yes. And that was that. After they send you back to the camp, and then they arrive, they decide what to do. By the time this came out, this Lipton, after a couple of months ago, he sent for me again. He said to me, "I've decided to send you home." I said, "What? Send me home?" I said, "After 4 years, you're sending me home?" "Really? You're sending me home? You're not denying me? No, I'm sending you home." I got to the house. Ernie was there. Louis Siddeley, his brother, and all the rest from Bardi. I said, "I'm going home in a few days." "What? You're going home?" "Well, you've been released." "Yes." "How?" "Yeah, I've been released." "I don't believe you." "No, sir, I've been released." And I did. The morning came when I left, they were all crying. All my friends, I left them all behind. Went home.